Okay, good evening, everyone. So while waiting for your friends, do you have for your lab practicals? Hello? Those who in online, how was your discussion last week? You got 2 hours extra from me. Suppose you have already take a look at your assignments, you already find your projects, informations, what you should do. So how was it? Excuse me. Okay, do you have any question, those who in online? No. Can you see my screen? Hello, those who on online. I'm waiting for your response. Parmit Singh, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, Miss, we can see.
Okay, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anybody, any of your friends are not yet entered the online class yet? No? Is everyone here? SCSJ student, is everybody here? Okay, so for today, we're going to learn about your chapter 3. We have another 3 more chapters before we have your test. So your test most likely will be done after Deepavali. Okay? After Deepavali. So how was your last week task? Do you have any questions you want to ask? Okay, so we will proceed chapter 3, which is about your object-oriented design principles. So last 2 weeks, we already covered about design patterns. Okay, so by this week, we learn about the principles. So patterns is about the blueprint, or principle is about the rules or laws that we need to admit when you are doing your object-oriented. Okay, so what are we going to focus on today is only 3 things: solid design principles, design by contracts, design patterns for your maintainability and extensibility. Okay, so what shall you expect after you learn these topics is that you are able to understand and apply the solid design principles in your Java code. You're able to explain your DCB concepts, identify the design patterns which helps to maintain and extensible. Okay, after you understand, you're able to identify, you can explain, it means that you're able to write a clean, modular, and scalable Java code. Okay, so as for today, I heard from some of the students commenting that why does Miss Diana does not covers for the basic foundation knowledge about the Java. Okay, so this part, I just, the one that I give you as your lab practicals, the one that I give you as for your tutorials, is actually helps you to understand more about Java. Okay, if you have more time, you can go and dig around your informations through the tutorials point, W3 School, Stack Overflow. Okay, that will help you everything. Okay, so far, do you guys have any question for this? So you have to give your own effort to learn all the basic things. How does we need to do the declaration? How can we do the accessor mutator? And so on. As for me, I will directly give you the codes, give you the tutorials, give you the lab practicals for you to explore by yourself. Usually that one would be a better solution for you having a fast track learning for a coding. Okay? So far, do you have any questions you want to ask? Okay, for your assignment, my suggestion is you need to start your development now already. Okay, because Android requires a lot of attention from you when it involves Eclipse. Okay? Clear, guys? Do you have any questions? So let's proceed to the introduction. So introduction, we have a design and principle. So when we split both of them, it will provide you 2 different story. When you combining them, you will have another meanings that helps you in your object oriented. Okay, when we talk about design, it is actually a process that help you to define how was your architecture, how was your component, interfaces, and data can help to satisfy certain of the requirement that have been mentioned by the users. Okay, well, principle actually is a guideline, the core guideline that help the developers to ensure that their codes is correct, efficient, and maintainable. Why do we need to have a correct code? Guys, why do we need to have a correct code? Minzu, why do we need to have a correct code?
Because we need to do the correct process.
Okay, So what if we have a correct process? So what will happen to our system?
It will reach the target that we need.
Okay, it's not only reach the target that we need, it also will produce a correct result. For example, you say your system is intended to do 1 plus 1, the summation, okay? But then during your process, you just put numbers minus numbers. Does it produce a summation value for your product? For your numbers? Will it? No, right? So it means that whatever you did for your system, for your progress, for your project, you need to make sure that all the formulas, all the operation is logic and also correct based on the real world case study. Okay, for example, they ask you, please do provide me a system that can calculate the area of rectangles. But then the formula that you provide is for you to calculate a circle. Does it correct your code? Edison, does that correct?
Yes, Miss.
Huh? Yes. So if I want to calculate an area of a rectangle, I put the formula for circle. It is correct?
No, Miss. No, Miss.
No. So that's why we need the principles. Okay. So why does we need what we are having just now? Another one, another two? Efficient. Why we need to have an efficient code? So it can be running faster. Does not make your system slow. Maintainable. Why do we need to have a maintainable code? So that where we left our job, the person who are replacing us can understand what can be done. Okay, and then they can help us to enhance the code better and better following the software evolution or requirement. Okay, so when we have these two things combined together, it means that we have a fundamentals guideline that help a software engineers make a design decision which lead to a clean, maintainable and extensible code. Okay, so who is software engineer? Who is software engineer? Does software engineer same as the developer? So I give you 2 minutes to find out, does the developer and software engineer is the same thing, doing the same roles? 2 minutes, later I will call your name. Okay, Torrance, what is your answer? The software engineer and developer is the same person? Same role? Torrance Heng Tong Zhen. The software engineer and the developer having the same roles and the same function? Hello? Why are you raising your hand and asking you questions? Hello? Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, can.
Yap Jun Xian. What is the answer? Does they the same thing or did not same?
Not same.
You Google ke tidak? Did you Google? Software engineers and developer, does they the same thing? Yes or no? So when we talk about software engineer, they more focus on the broader scope. Okay, they focus on your high level design, they focus on your engineering principle. Okay, which will cover about the scalability, the performance and the reliability. When we talk about the software developer, they will help to write a clean, scalable code and test it and also deploy it. It usually concentrate on the technical tasks. Okay. Do you understand? So usually software developer is independent work, but software engineer, you need to collaborate in a teams. Hello? Okay. I think in my class, if those who doesn't, I call the name does not respond, I will remove you from the class. Okay? Are we agreed, those who in online?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, Kai Sing. How about others? Are you agreed?
Yes.
I remove those who are not responding.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. Yes, miss.
Okay.
No problem.
So I get everybody's acknowledgement and approval. So after this, when I call your name, you are not answering me directly. I remove you from the attendance and also the class. Okay. So next, importance of the design principle. Why we need to have a design principles? Because it helps us to improve your code readability and reusability, which means that your code is much more organized. One, it is organized. It makes your software to be easier to maintain and can be extended based on the user requirements. Okay. So since it is easier to maintain, you can find the bugs easier. Okay. When you find the bugs easier, it reduces the bugs due to the type couple code. Okay, once you reduce your bugs, it's easy to maintain, able to extend, okay, it will provide you a good software architecture. So your software is a good software. Okay, so that's why it is important for you to understand the relationship between the object-oriented design principle, design pattern, how you need to implement the knowledge that you have learned inside your programs. Okay. So now I have a simple questions. Do you think that longer code provide you a better performance? Okay, so those who are saying yes, raise your hand. Those who are saying yes towards my question, raise your hand. Only one? Okay, two. So I give you 2 minutes to Google. Does longer code what the question just now? Does the longer code provide better performance? Those who say yes, raise your hand. Those who say no, put down your hand. Huh. Okay, we ask Nikki. What is your answer, Nikki?
Answer is no.
Why you say no? Oh, there must be a reason when you say no.
Is it because sometimes if your code is longer, it's hard for readability?
Okay, good. What more? How about others? Let's ask from Parmit. It's been so long, Parmit. I haven't called your name. Parmit?
Yes, miss.
Huh? What is your answer and what is your reason?
I feel like if longer code, the design will be better, but then if it's like a shorter code, like it will be more faster because like the longer is like more to animation and all.
Huh? More to animation?
Like
Can you
example,
explain? Huh?
how do I say it? Um, like when you click an option,
Mm-hmm.
like it will be simple and then it will like some apps it will be simple and then it will just pop up. So that's performance. While other ones, like maybe you tap an option and then like some animation will come. That's why it needs a longer code, but it depends on what you're coding also.
Oh,
Yeah.
depends on the coding, eh? Okay.
Yeah. Depends
So,
what you're coding on.
okay. So, Sharvin anak lelaki Suresh Kumar. What is your answer? So, Sharvin is not here. Wang Yuming? Wang Yuming. Wang Yuming? Also not here. I can't hear you, Yuming. Okay, guys. Actually, if in a logically thinking, okay, when you have a longer code, you requires longer time to do the debugging. Okay. When you have a longer time to debug, it causes a lower performance. Okay. As the length of your code increase, it will increase along with your complexity, which means your logic will be much more complex. Okay. You will have more bugs. It will make the person who handle your code hard to understand and takes time to do the maintenance. Okay. But then as your friend said just now, it depends on which environment that they are implementing. Okay, so you have to know that in programming, we will check also about the complexity. Okay, they will known as the big O. What else? Okay, for you to know more about the code complexity, you can Google later on code complexity. And you will see there were a lot of graph view for you. Okay. So let's proceed to the next slide. So next slide is your first class activities. You need to use a table of comparison to identify what would be the difference between the design principle and design patterns, and how was both of them can be relatable with each others. Okay, I give you around 10 minutes to do it. Okay. So later I will call 2 or 3 people to share the answer and share screen. Are you guys done? Okay. Yuan Wei. Yuan Wei, can you share me your answers?
I haven't finished.
Haven't finished? It's okay, just show me the first answer also can. Okay, good. Thank you. Let us from SCPG 51. SCPG 51. Can you show me your answers? Hmm. Sorry, SCPG 91. SCPG. Can you show me your answers for the second questions?
Did I want to explain both of them or only one?
How was the relationship? The second question only. How was both DPs can be relatable to each other? How? Simple explanation also can.
Hey, hold on a second. Design principle act as a compass. It help us to guide towards a better implementation. For example, like the factory methods,
Mm-hmm.
the dependency inversion reinforce this by stating depend on abstraction, not concretion.
Okay. So thank
Yeah.
you. So let's proceed. So those who in online, can you see my screen?
Yeah, can.
Okay. So thank you for your
I
sharings.
also can, miss.
Okay, Kwan. So this is your answers. Okay, suppose you can have this kind of answers when you do your research just now. Okay, so when you find the answers, design principle actually is a general rule or guideline for you to write a good design. While for patterns, it is a proven reusable solution templates for a recurring problem, which means the problem has been occurred for many times. Okay, and level of abstractions, if we compare for both of them, design principle is more conceptual and high level. But for design pattern, it will become much more concrete and practical for you. One is more on the concept part, another one is more on your practical part. So what does they cover? For design principle, they cover for the classes structure, the methods, and the relationship. And make sure all of these are correctly done. Okay, then for the design pattern is how you implement. Okay, how you implement a specific structure or behavior in your coding. Okay, one is to design only to show how was your cluster will looks like. Another one is how you implement it. Okay, it means that you do it, not only just drafting. Okay, and when we talk about the example of your principle is about solid, dry, and case. Okay, while for analogy, it covers about your law and rules. While purpose, it will prevent the poor design. Okay, so as for analogy for design principle is about law and rules, how about the design patterns? Anyone know the answer for the design patterns? How about the design patterns? Anyone? Anyone want to try? So it will be your receipt or blueprint. Okay, receipt or blueprint. So make sure that you understand all of this and do not get confused. If one day your lecturer asks you, so which one is about the rules, which one is about the blueprint? So make sure that you understand and able to differentiate them. Okay? So what is blueprint actually, guys? Do you know what is blueprint?
The original object.
The original object, the template, okay? So the answer for question 2, they are complementary because design principle guide you how you think when you are designing. While patterns is to show you how was the implementation of your principles of what you have think when you are designing. Okay, so that's why when you look here, when we talk about design principle, we have considered, I put around 3 only. Okay, so design principle, we have open close principle, we have dependency inversion, and we have single responsibility principles. But then all of these 3 principles will have their own patterns. Okay, so open close, usually they will use the factory or strategy patterns. Okay, why? Because they allow you to add new classes without modifying the existing ones. Okay, for dependency inversions, okay, they will use the bridge and observer patterns, which will depend more on your abstraction compared to the concrete class. So concrete class is the one that you do the public class what. But if the abstract class, you will put abstract class shape, right? So that one is how you declare, right? Abstract class, you have no information, where usually you will inherit from who? From children, from your parents, okay? So the information will be inherit from the parents into the abstraction. Okay, so single responsibility is the decorator pattern. So usually this one will help you to separate different responsibility by wrapping your object. Okay, so if you remember, where in which chapter that we learn about the design pattern? In which chapter we have learned this design pattern? In which chapter? Chi Leong, Hong Chi Leong. In which chapter we have learned about design pattern?
Chapter. Chapter 2 ah.
Chapter 2, good. So in chapter 2, you have learned how many types of patterns? How many design patterns that you have learned? Somebody, let us ask to Zikuan. Zikuan,
Yes, miss.
how many design patterns that we have learned in chapter 2?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? It's okay. Let's ask Edison. How many design patterns that we have learned? Type of design patterns. Your friend said in chapter 2.
Um,
10? 10 types of design pattern? Are
No,
you sure?
I didn't say 10.
Then you say how many? What is your answer? Okay, go back and check, okay, how many types of design patterns. So the one that I mentioned in the table here is only the example for each of the design pattern types, okay? So you shall have 3: structural, behavioral, and guys, what? Creational. Okay. Thank you for those who are giving me the answers. Okay. So make sure that you're able to differentiate all of them. Okay. So as for summary for the first part, design is actually helping you to create structure. Okay. Principle is rules for you to guide you how to design it well. Design principle is a rule to design writing your codes in terms of flexibility and clean. Design pattern is a reusable solution, okay, that implements your design principle. Okay, so next we go for the example of design principle. We have around 6, but as for today, we will cover for the first one only, the solid part. Abstractions, you have learned in chapter 1, if I'm not mistaken. Modularity, you have learned in chapter 1, alright? But number 2, 3, and 4, if you want to find it, you can go and Google it. It's just a simple principle. Okay? Solid is the 5 principle, a set of 5 principles combined into one. Okay? While for dry, it is a short form for don't repeat for yourself. It means that as long as you can reuse it, just reuse it. Kiss is not you kissing somebody. No, this is the short term or acronym for the keep it simple but yet stupid. Why? When you put it in a simpler term, even the people who are not really understand can still manage to help you. Okay? That's why they give you a term of stupid then. Okay? Even normal people does not have IT background, when they look at it, they can also understand your code. Okay? Yakni, it means that you're not gonna need it. It means that you are throwing something that is no longer needed in your code. So, make sure your code is clean enough. Okay? That is the yakni is for. So far, do you have any question for all of this principle? Do you have any more questions you want to ask about the principle? No. Okay, so let's go for solid. Solid is 5 different principles. Okay, I have mentioned it is a set of principles where it helps to create a maintainable and flexible system. So S is stand for single responsibility. O is open close. L is a Liskov substitution. I is interface segregation. And D is the dependency inversion. Okay, so later I will provide you the codes for each of the principle. Which one, each of them will have their own bad principle when they are not applying your principle, and another code will give you a application of those principles into it. Okay, so make sure you retype the code, understand line by line. Okay, why each of these have different way to type to write, okay, the code. So let's go for the first one, which is your SRP. SRP is stand for the single responsibility principle, where a class should have only a reason to change. Okay, so for example, report printer. Your function needs to be a print your report. If text calculator, what is your method? Is calculate the text. Okay, that means that one class can only have one to change. Okay, so next we go for OCP, which is open close principle, where your classes should be open for an extension but closed for modification. You can do the extents, but you cannot change internally. Okay, as you can see, abstract class shape. Shape is your superclass or your parent class. So inside your superclass, you have abstract double area. So abstract double area, it means that the abstract will inherit the value from your parent class. Okay, it's up to you how do you understand it. Okay, so if you look at the circle class circle extend shape, it means that the shape, inside the shape, you have a circle. Okay, so the circle will have the value of area. But how you calculate the area? Using the mat.pi times r times r. That would be the calculation how you calculate the circle area. What if you have triangle? So you should write class triangle extend shape double area return. What is the formula of triangle? Area. Half times base times height. Am I right? Or is it wrong? Okay. So if you have more than this shape, you can add more shape and extend to the shape as the child. Okay. So you can see that abstract double area, it can change based on the extension. Okay. That's why they said they open for extension, not for the modification. Okay. So next, LSP is your Liskov substitution principle, where your subclasses should be substitutable for their base classes. Okay. So for example, class bird void fly, class penguin extend birds, but then they said it is violate your LSP. Why? Why? Because logically, does your penguin fly? No. So you need to separate your hierarchies. Okay. So next we go for ISP, which is interface segregation principle. When we talk about segregation, it means that you need to separate them. Okay. No client should depend on the interface it doesn't use. Okay. That's why interface workable, you have the method work. You would not have a method eat inside it. Okay, it only exists for what it required, for what it have. Okay. Next, DIP, dependency inversion principle. It means that high level module should depend on your abstraction. So what is abstraction? You inherit some values from the other classes. Okay, just like what you see, class computer, computer keyboard K. So keyboard came from the interface class. So interface class is one of the abstraction class. Okay. Clear, cool? So even though you have a lot of classes, but then you just reuse them. You are not creating a new classes to implement inside another class. Okay. So before we going to design by contract, okay, before we go to design by contract, I have a task. I want you to find out about the LSP. Okay, as I mentioned here, logically penguin cannot fly, so they ask you to do a separate hierarchy. So how does the hierarchies will looks like? How do we fix this code? So this is your task. Okay, I give you around 10 minutes to find out how does the LSP can help for this kind of logical issues. Go and find out. Okay, after 10 minutes, I will call your names and share me your answers. Are you guys done finding the answers? Okay, those on guys done. Can you guys do it? Guys, can you guys do it?
Yes, Miss.
So what did you get? Huh, what did you get? For those who are not answering me anything, what did you get?
Miss,
Ah,
like we need to answer the code or
yeah, correct.
yeah.
So what can you do with the code?
For the code, uh, uh, I do like for the first line is class
Hmm?
bed and the penguin is extend from the bed,
Okay, the penguin is class.
but the boy is swim.
Ah,
So like
okay.
it like inherited from the bed.
Inherit from the bird, but we are using void swim, is it?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. So let's see whether your one is my one is the same. So do you guys get the same thing like mine? We using implements bird. Okay. So inside the class penguin, we going to write a public void swim as your methods. Okay. So far, do you have any questions?
Miss,
Huh.
I was wondering, if it's okay to like substitute another bird for like another line, but it's like you substitute penguin to sparrow and then the bird to flying bird. Is that okay?
Can also. That's what I said. Different people will have different way to write their code. Okay, that's why we previously you learn about override, you learn about overloading, right? You learn about interface. So this is when you need to use all of the knowledge that you have learned previously. Okay, clear? Okay, as long as it is relevant, logically it is relevant, producing the correct code. But how does you write your code does not have any issues because different people will have different understanding and the way they wrote their language or their coding would be also different. Okay, are you good? Kaisi, it's from you, right? The question is from you, right?
Yes.
Ah. Okay, so let's proceed. Just now I already covered for DIP, right? So now we go for design by contract. So design by contract, we can known it as a DBC. okay, which is actually a formal agreement that between the class and also client. Okay, so each of the methods usually work in two ways where you need to cover about the condition and also invariance. When we talk about conditions, we have a pre-condition and post-condition. Okay, so pre-condition is to check before. Post-condition is to check after. Why we need to have pre and post-condition? Anyone know? Why do we need to have the pre and post-condition? Why do we need to have pre and post-condition? So, pre and post-condition is for the pre is we need to check what are the condition need to be fulfilled before your execution. Okay, for post is what would be true after you execute. Okay, what have been fulfilled? What must be fulfilled after you execute? Well, invariant is what are the things that must always remain true. Okay, that's why you have the class variant and loop variant. Okay, class is about what class that must always true. What looping condition, what looping variance that you need to be always remain true. Okay. So, design pattern. So, previously I have mentioned to you design pattern, right? So, now I want you to understand the usage of design pattern. Okay, design pattern actually is helps in the maintainability and extensibility. When we talk about maintainability, you are able to reuse your solution to a common design problem. And then to improve, and then for extensibility, which means that you can improve the organization and scalability. How you do it? Based on the type of patterns that you have learned previously. Okay, so that's why last 3 weeks you learn about design pattern types. You have your structural, behavioral, and creational. All of the 3 patterns will be used in 3 different contexts. Okay. So, as for summary, design by contract is actually to define your formal pre, post, and invariant to make sure the correctness. Okay, for factory patterns is a centralized object creation for the flexibility. For strategy pattern where it allows the runtime selection of your algorithm. While for the observer pattern, it will notify the dependent object automatically on the change. Okay, so the example here that I provide to you is the example of the codes. Later you can find it inside your Teams. Okay, I will attach the code for you to retype, rewrite, and see the difference between all of them. Okay. So let's proceed with your class activities. So these class activities I will give you do once I finish today lecture. I will upload all of the tasks for you to retype everything. Okay. As usual, you need to provide an explanation as comment for each of the lines. Okay, and then you provide your output screenshot after successfully executing your program. Okay. Once you're done for each of the programs, you need to write a self-reflection. Okay, why you need to write a self-reflection? Because you need to understand what is your capability before and after you run the program. Did you increase your knowledge? Did you deepen your understanding? Are you able to apply all of these skills if the case study are given are not mentioned? If they ask you to enhance the code into a better way using a design pattern and principle, are you be able to do that? So I want you to know your own capability, okay? So that in future you can see how was yourself being progressed from one to another phase. Okay? So, overall summary is about the principle and also design by contract and your design pattern. So for the focus, for each of the principle will be covering different focus. Okay, as you can see, the solid, they talk about your class design. Okay, design by contract to make sure that your method is correct. While for design pattern, they covers about your architecture. Okay, so based on all of this, there will benefit different things for you. Okay, when you have a good class design, you can have a maintainable code. Okay, even though your class design is good, is maintainable, but if your method is incorrect, your system or your program are not reliable. Okay, but then you have to make sure that your architecture is extensible, because as time evolves, the requirements or the needs by the human would be increasing, would be evolving, just like what you have in your OS. Okay, you said, I want a better camera to be sharpened, to be have more filter that is nicer, to make sure that my skin look nice. For example, maybe in future you say that, oh, my camera I not only want it have to be the filter features, I want it to have a smell features. Who knows? It evolve time, right? So that's why you have to make sure that your architecture is extensible. If not, it will be demolished or you will discard it once it cannot be extended. Okay? Just like when you use the XP Windows compared to your Windows 11. So which one is better? Which one is better in terms of architecture? It must be the current one, because XP is no longer affordable to be extended to support for current application and also software. Okay? So the last one is the activities. Okay, so you need to identify the given code, which of the principle solid that they have been violated. Okay, and why? And why you said this line have already violated the principle that have been mentioned. Okay, and then you need to learn how to create, you need to apply the factory pattern to create the vehicle class. Okay, write a design by contract example for login methods. And the last one is, how are you going to interconnect the relationship between those design patterns, design principle, and design by contracts. If you cannot understand the relationship between all of this, it means that you are not having enough knowledge. You need to go back, do some research and find out. Okay, because all of this will be used anywhere as long as it is involving with the development processes. Not only object-oriented, it can be go for your final year project. It can be done in your database system. It can be used in your C++ classes or projects. Okay? Clear enough, everyone? So I think that's all for online lecture. Anything you want to ask me?
Miss, I want to ask about the final assessment.
Okay.
Will it be the same with our assignment?
Final assessment, does it will be the same as your assignment?
Yes,
I don't
Miss.
think so. Why? Why you are worried about your final assessment?
I just want to clarify, like the process will be the same or the different.
Okay, if you do my tutorials well, if you do my lab practical well, there is no issue for your final assessment. Okay,
Okay,
Because
Miss.
your final
Okay.
assessment, as I mentioned, your final assessment would have true false question with explanation, debugging and tracing, and also the case study. Whatever I give you in your tutorials, it will be the same as your final assessment. So please do all of your tutorials, even though I heard complaints from your lecturers saying that Miss Diana give us a lot of things to be done. But you have to bear in mind, I did not set any deadline for you. If you did not take this chance to do all of the things, don't blame people if you are failed the subject. Okay? Clear enough? And please
Yes,
do inform
Miss.
your friends that are not attending my class about what I have mentioned during the lecture. Okay? Please do inform them, yeah? The questions are covered from the tutorials also. So if you do your tutorials, if you do your lab practicals, it shouldn't be any issues if you want to do your final assessment. It actually helps you. Okay? So I hope you try your best to do everything and discuss with your tutorial lecturer. Okay? So far, do you have any questions?
I got a question, Miss.
Okay, if you don't have, I let you go now. So thank you.
Miss, I
SASJ
got
students, please stay in your class. I will be discussing with you for your assignment. Okay, so thank you everyone. See you when I shall see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Miss.
Welcome.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Welcome.